Getting beat on. I realize I don't think I have it anymore because I got the ability to stay in shape, but I don't got the fighting guts, I don't think, anymore.
Mike Tyson just ended his boxing career after decades of crushing opponents and wearing the boxing crown like it was custom made. And it's not with a roaring victory, but with a spectacular humiliation.
The Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Interesting.
Script. How so? What do you mean by
It's just
script?
weird. It just
Like scripted in what way?
no, I don't know. I actually really like Jake Paul. It just seems so it's odd, bro.
I wonder what brought down the baddest man on the planet. Is it age, injuries, or what? Nope, it's money. Yes, it's a big payday for the scripted fight against a YouTuber half his age. Tyson's career didn't just end. It crashed and got hit with a lawsuit on the way out. Mike Tyson's boxing career didn't just end. It fell apart in front of millions, and honestly, it was hard to watch. How sad it was to see the epic Mike Tyson, the man who sent heavyweights flying with punches that could break walls, reduced to struggling against Jake Paul. Yes, Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer.
Later this fall, he is back in the ring at age 58 to pummel a kid from YouTube. Watch Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson live November 15th on Netflix.
The fight on November 15th, 2024 wasn't just a loss. It was a spectacle that made even his biggest fans cringe. I mean, Tyson was once a walking knockout machine, a boxing god. But this time, he landed a laughable 18 punches across 8 rounds. In his prime, he threw 40 to 50 punches per round like it was nothing. Seeing him reduced to such slow-motion action was like watching an old action movie with the fight scenes on pause. Jake Paul, 31 years younger and still relatively new to boxing, basically played babysitter. You could tell he was holding back as if knocking Tyson out would have been bad PR. It was less of a fight and more of a weird celebrity charity match. But the only thing they were raising was public embarrassment. And let's not even start on why Tyson and Paul stepped into that ring in the first place. But wait, we have to. It's money. Cold, hard cash. He pocketed $20 million for this circus. At that price, I can't even blame him. Who wouldn't take that deal, even if it means becoming a meme for eternity? But was it worth it? His legacy, the thing that made him a living legend, is now tied to a loss against a YouTuber. Beer. It's like seeing a rock band from the 80s playing at a local pizza joint for tips. It just feels wrong. Put this in, 027-036. And the fans? They were furious. Some called the fight elderly abuse. Others dubbed it a scripted circus, after a supposed fight prediction leaked online that matched the match's events suspiciously well.
Drop his hand down when it was clear as day that Jake's face was wide open to receive it. Bro, this is disappointing.
The internet exploded with conspiracy theories faster than you could say rigged. People bet real money on this fight, expecting Tyson to throw some power punches at least. But instead, they got slow jabs and awkward footwork. The only thing knockout-worthy about the fight was how fast fans knocked down Tyson's legacy afterward. But if you think this was just about the fight, think again. Tyson's life outside the ring got just as messy. After the fight, his wife, Lakia Kiki Spicer, reportedly said, "That's it." She pulled the plug on his career, prioritizing his health and what's left of his legacy. And Tyson himself? He seemed confused about retirement. One day, he's hinting he might fight again, even playfully calling out Jake Paul's brother, Logan Paul. The next day, he's saying, "I don't know if I'll fight again. It depends on the situation." What situation, Mike?
I'm just fighting to take care of my bills, basically. I don't have the stomach for this kind of no more. I'm more conscious of my children and those guys looking at my parents. I don't have that ferocity. I'm not an animal anymore.
The saddest part is that this isn't how we were supposed to remember Mike Tyson. We were supposed to remember him as the unstoppable force which crushed legends, not as a former champ chasing one last payday against internet stars. Mike Tyson's last fight wasn't just a loss. It was a public humiliation wrapped in an official-looking scorecard. The numbers said it all. 80 to 72, 79 to 73, 79 to 73. A unanimous decision so brutal, it felt like the judges were writing Tyson's boxing obituary in real time. These weren't close rounds. Jake Paul, 31 years younger and far less experienced, dominated from the opening bell to the final minute. Watching Tyson, The man who used to send opponents to another dimension within seconds. Get outclassed like this was nothing short of painful.
After I seen him a little bit tired, I didn't want to put too much hurt on him, but I wanted the fans to get a good experience. But there was a point where all of my aggression and like super violence and like I'm gonna knock this guy out and show him, it went away when I wasn't getting hit.
What made it worse? Paul didn't even go full throttle. You could literally see him easing up during the fight, almost like he was sparing Tyson from an even worse fate. This wasn't about respect, it was about PR management. Knocking out a 58-year-old boxing legend would have turned the internet against Paul faster than you can say cancel culture. But carrying Tyson through 8 rounds, it kept the show going without making things too awkward. Though let's be honest, the entire fight was one long awkward moment. Fans weren't just disappointed, they were heartbroken. This wasn't how Tyson was supposed to go out. Watching him struggle to land punches and eat jabs from a YouTuber felt surreal, like seeing your childhood hero trip over his shoelaces on live TV. The once indestructible baddest man on the planet looked like a shadow of himself, moving slower than Wi-Fi on a bad day. It was a harsh reality check, especially for those who still believed Tyson had one last thunderous punch left in him. Spoiler alert, he didn't. But if you thought Tyson's post-fight struggles ended with that defeat, think again. His toughest rounds were fought outside the ring, in courtrooms filled with lawsuits. Just weeks after the fight, he got hit with a $1.6 million lawsuit from Madeira, a Cyprus-based company promoting Rabona Sportsbook and online casino. Their claim? Tyson allegedly breached a promotional contract linked to the fight because Netflix sponsored the event instead. But wait, it gets worse. While Tyson was dealing with that mess, Netflix found itself on the receiving end of a monstrous $50 million class action lawsuit. Apparently, their live stream of the fight was about as reliable as Tyson's jab that night. Over 90,000 viewers experienced glitches, blackouts, and buffering so bad they probably thought the fight was being streamed from a dial-up modem. Fans who paid top dollar for the pay-per-view felt cheated and demanded compensation.
Reason and one reason only, and that is the money. He's getting paid so much money to do this, so that tells me he's getting bought. So there you have it. Tyson's career didn't end with a knockout punch or a standing ovation. It ended in a courtroom buried under legal complaints, breach of contract allegations, and class action lawsuits. A legendary boxing run that should have been celebrated was instead tangled up in disputes over broken deals and angry fans demanding refunds. Tyson's final opponent wasn't Jake Paul. It was a brutal mix of bad decisions, lawsuits, and shattered reputations. And this time, there was no bell to save him. After watching her husband struggle through 8 excruciating rounds against Jake Paul, Spicer reportedly drew the line.
People don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champion of the world. He was an executioner. Truly. Every fight was just a matter of how long was it going to last.
Let's talk about Tyson's legacy, which is now hanging by a thread thinner than Jake Paul's credibility as a real boxer. Boxing legends like Evander Holyfield and Buster Douglas didn't hold back when condemning the Tyson versus Paul fight, calling it a disgrace to the sport. These guys fought Tyson in his prime, back when he was a human wrecking ball, so seeing him reduced to a stumbling, sluggish version of himself hit harder than Tyson's famous uppercut. Fans who grew up idolizing Tyson were left wondering, is this how we're supposed to remember the most feared boxer of all time?
Came out afterwards. He was the first one, obviously. And Mike came out afterwards, and I watched his face. I didn't watch Mike. You would normally watch Mike because he's so charismatic and he's coming. You want to see what he's going to do. And I watched the guy's face, and I watched that confidence bleed from his face instantaneously.
His 80s and 90s reign of terror, when he knocked out opponents in seconds, now seems overshadowed by a misguided comeback that felt more like a reality TV stunt than a real fight. Even critics labeled the event elderly abuse rather than a boxing match. That's a low blow even Tyson couldn't dodge. And let's not sugarcoat this. The fight wasn't about reclaiming boxing glory. It was about cash. Everyone saw it. Everyone knew it. The only thing more obvious than Tyson's exhaustion was the paychecks being cashed behind the scenes. Fans left the fight feeling like they'd paid for a nostalgia trip, but got stuck on a broken-down roller coaster instead.
Friend Mike Tyson tweeted that he almost died over the summer. He said, he had a bunch of blood transfusions, just had to fight to get healthy, and then his performance yesterday against Jake Paul. Just your thoughts on what we saw.
Mike Tyson was right.
And I was wrong.
With Spicer's no-nonsense intervention, Tyson's deteriorating health, and enough legal drama to fill an entire season of Law & Order, the writing is officially on the wall. Mike Tyson's boxing career is done. Finished. Game over. Boxing analysts who were skeptical from the start now agree that Tyson should have hung up his gloves long before Jake Paul even entered the boxing scene. Sure, Tyson's legacy will always include his terrifying knockout power and reign as the baddest man on the planet. But let's be real, this awkward, lawsuit-filled Jake Paul losing finale will forever be part of his story, whether we like it or not. He'll be remembered as the heavyweight destroyer and the aging fighter who stuck around just a bit too long. And just like that, the final bell has rung on Mike Tyson's legendary boxing career, not with a knockout, but with a bittersweet mix of love, lawsuits, and life catching up. In the ring, but in a reality check showdown. Love him or hate him, Tyson's legacy will forever punch its way through boxing history, raw, messy, and absolutely iconic.